Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Bottom of the Stream.
I'm Nick.
I'm Adam. How are you doing, Nick?
We are back on our stream boat.
We are. Yeah, it's a bit cold, a bit chilly.
Yeah.
It's freezing.
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well. Yeah, not bad, thanks. Not bad. You had a good week?
Bought the Christmas turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
Very well prepared. I like it.
Well, not picked it up.
Too heavy?
Yeah. So it's just roaming around the garden.
Oh, really? You're going to kill it?
Yeah.
I can't imagine you killing a turkey.
I can't carry on this charade.
It's Christmas. That's what charades is for.
Yeah, that's true.
Really? It's nearly Christmas. All shopping done?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm a little bit behind.
What you got me?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
I just said I'm a little bit behind. What have you got me?
Well, I couldn't possibly say in this public forum.
We had the best Christmas present today.
Did we?
Yeah, we got 3,000 Twitter followers today.
Oh, of course we did, yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
How was 3,000 people following us?
I know.
It almost makes us relevant.
I mean, 3,000 is not a lot in terms of the population of the world, but I'm very, very happy that we've got that
exactly.
many.
I don't think we'd ever get anywhere near that many. It's awesome.
No, not at all.
It's really good. Thanks for following us on Twitter if you do, and if you don't, please do.
Yeah.
I'll give you the details at the end.
3006 or something, or whatever it's up to now.
Definitely. Been up to anything interesting this week that's worth talking about?
I don't think there's been anything exciting.
No.
Hasn't been anything exciting. I pretty much finished my shopping. Yeah, just it's all that, like, it's a weird time of year now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because everyone's just really anticipating, if you're lucky enough to have a couple of weeks or a week off work, and
yeah, definitely,
and it's kind of just
things start to wind down at work.
Days to tick over, and yeah,
we've got a Christmas jumper day tomorrow.
Oh, lovely!
And then next week's all non-uniform week, which is quite nice.
At my daughter's school, they've had Christmas jumper day every Friday, last Friday, this Friday, and next Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be awkward because you've got 3 different Christmas jumpers, surely.
I think they've only got 2 each, so there's definitely going to be one.
Some sort of repeat. Yeah. Can't you just cut them in half and sew them together?
Oh, that's not a bad shout.
Half and halves.
Yeah.
Do it.
But one of them's a lot smaller than the other, so it would look really weird.
Oh, I didn't mean cut the children in half.
No, their jumpers are much smaller. So it'd look really weird.
I did have some bad news this week. I got a speeding ticket.
Oh, no.
I've been speeding. It's bad times. I'm away to work as well. Who speeds to work?
You've done it wrong.
I've done it the wrong way around.
Were you late?
No. I really wasn't. I was quite close to work and I was like 50 minutes early. I don't know what I was thinking. I must have just been half asleep, I think.
You've definitely done it wrong.
Bad times.
Were you on autopilot?
Yeah, I must be. I go the same way every day.
Did you know that...
There was a van there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know it had got me, but I remember it being there now. Bastards.
Is it a hotspot?
What's a hotspot not? Sorry, that was a Michael Barrymore reference. Apologies. No, not really. It's like a quiet country lane. It goes from a 30 to a 60. Right. Straight off, and the camera was parked just in front of the sign where it turns to a 60.
Yeah, they're not
they're sneaky.
They're stupid. Yeah.
Sneaky bastards.
Is that the first time you've ever had one?
No, it's my second.
Oh, okay.
But I've not got any points because they'd already expired.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a while since my last one.
Awesome.
Fun,
well,
not awesome. Bad times.
Bit exciting.
How are we doing for Netflix news?
I've got a few bits.
I've got a few bits as well. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. Do you want the sort of one that's not boring? I think it's quite important, but
okay.
It's not like jovial.
Right.
So
go for it.
Do you know Ofcom?
Yes.
Who regulate TV and radio and all that stuff?
I know of them, indeed.
So they have sort of said that in a new year they might be looking at changing regulations to insist that basically, because streaming is now such a big part of broadcasting in this country, that streaming companies have to provide a certain percentage of programming to be public broadcasting.
Oh, right, really?
So basically that's like news, kids stuff, educational stuff, religious stuff. All the stuff no one watches on like the BBC and all that. Because obviously the viewing figures on all those channels are way down. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one.
That is a weird one.
That's not what I want to use Netflix for.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that in the new year.
Netflix are going to do their own news TV show and then give it away for free. I just can't see it happening.
No, me neither.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to keep our eye on, though, to see if it does happen.
Yeah. We'll see. What's yours? You go next. Let's take it in turns.
Okay, cool. I like it when we do this. The Cobra Kai Season 3 trailer is out.
Oh, brilliant. I've not seen it.
Oh, no, you should watch it. It's actually a really good trailer. Yeah, you should do it. There's a lot. They give quite a bit away of where the season's going, but it does look good. There's a few more returning characters in it and that sort of thing. It's going to be good, I think.
Oh, brilliant.
January the 8th, I think Cobra Kai's back. It's really soon.
That's really soon.
Yeah,
that's
really soon.
4 weeks.
Yeah, Jesus.
Brilliant.
It really is.
Well, like I say, it's that weird time of year because actually you go, oh, that's a month. That's quite a long time. But 2 weeks of them are like this no man's land around Christmas where no one knows what day it is.
That's true.
And what you should be doing. So
my favourite time of year. I like not knowing what day it is. It's always
fun.
Why
you just drink beer and eat more snacks.
Exactly.
For like a week.
All I do is eat snacks anyway. I've become addicted to Asda's mini poppadoms, just as a bit of a shout out. They're amazing.
Okay. Yeah.
Every time I go to Asda now, I buy a bag and then I just eat it that night. Really bad times. I need to stop.
Oh, at least you're only buying one. You're not like surrounding.
Yeah, but they're big bags.
Yeah, but I just imagine you like American Beauty style, spreading all these poppadoms out on your bed.
That's a good idea. I might do that next time.
Poppadom angel.
I might do that.
Treat yourself. Why not?
Tag, you're it.
Yeah, my next one is, I think we mentioned it a couple of months ago. I think you watched a couple of episodes. I didn't. It's an animation called Hoops.
I watched one episode.
With Jake Johnson's in it, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
A few more. Well, it's been cancelled, so...
Oh, was it really?
You're not getting another series.
Oh, right.
Netflix have not renewed.
Was it just one season that they did?
I believe so, yeah.
I think it was. Oh, that's a shame. Well, I didn't really enjoy it, so it's not really a shame. Me?
Yes.
Netflix have accidentally announced a TV show today.
Oh, good.
I don't
know when that happens.
They put out a tweet earlier announcing that they're going to be producing a Sonic animated TV series, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
And then promptly deleted that tweet pretty soon straight after. I think it's going to be announced at the Game Awards, and I think somebody maybe pressed a button a little bit too early. So keep your eye out for that, because that seems like it's coming. There was detail in the tweet, so it's definitely not been made up by somebody. So yeah, keep your eye out for that. It sounds interesting.
Like you say, it sounds like someone's trigger finger might have been a bit itchy.
It sounds like it. It's a 3D animated, apparently. So cool. Similar to the film that came out, I imagine.
Yeah.
It's not coming until 2022, though, according to the tweet.
Right. Takes a long time to draw him, so...
True. And then redraw him when the fans don't like him.
Yeah.
So it's been deleted, so it might not happen, but I would keep your eye open for it, because I think it's going to.
Yeah. Good scoop.
Thanks. Next.
Something that is coming soon. I've shut my phone down accidentally, so bear with me. Netflix have announced a new limited series from the creators of Narcos.
Okay.
Which is obviously extremely successful.
Yes.
It's called True Story.
Right.
And it stars the duo of Kevin Hart and famous tax cheat Wesley Snipes on the comeback trail.
Is it a true story about Wesley Snipes' tax dodgy?
I don't think so. But, I mean, I'll read the synopsis.
Okay.
So Kevin Hart will play Kid, a world-famous comedian, so very outside of his comfort zone, who makes a tour stop in his hometown of Philadelphia and visits his older brother Carlton, played by Wesley Snipes. However, the events of one lost evening turn into matters of life or death that threaten to destroy Kid's career and everything he has built.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds alright.
Yeah, it does sound alright. It sounds a bit... Now, obviously, I've no idea if they're going with a dramatic tone or a comedy tone. It does sound a bit like a male version of Dead to Me.
Yeah, true. It does actually, now you've said that.
We'll see.
We'll soon find out.
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds good. Do you know when it's coming?
No, there's no date on that.
I've got something that I think is going to be headline news, or should be headline news, all around the world. I was scrolling through Twitter, as you do, and Reddit and things, trying to find some news for today's episode, and a headline jumped out at me, and I instantly thought, I need to tell Nick about this.
Okay.
The headline was, Nicolas Cage, so it starts well.
Yeah, we're off to the races.
To host profanity-themed TV series, The History of Swear Words, on Netflix.
Brilliant.
Nicolas Cage will star as the host of a new Netflix series based on the history of profanity. Will come to the stream on 5th of January.
That's awesome.
That's very soon. Now, there is a trailer out there, and it is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's good, isn't it?
I did check it out last night when you mentioned it to me.
There's going to be 6 20-minute episodes, and it says it will examine the usage and origins of words commonly viewed as offensive, and Cage will reportedly get expertise and Cage will reportedly get expertise from people including historians.
Excellent.
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be really good fun.
Some of that etymology is really interesting. There was a guy I went to university with, and he did his dissertation on basically the history of swearing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he did really well. So
you'll find that show really interesting then.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. I mean, it's Nicolas Cage. He's going to just
great.
ham it up as well.
Just the trailer is wonderful. Definitely check out the trailer. It's so good. It's all Nick Cage. It's just him, and it's perfect. I can't wait for that. 5th of January, that's coming. It's exciting.
Excellent. That's a lovely New Year's treat.
Definitely.
Last one for me. Well, it's not news. It's more of a just dropped.
Okay.
So I spotted this today, and I thought, again, from the synopsis, it sounds pretty interesting. So a movie called Rose Island has just arrived on Netflix. I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
It's an Italian movie. It's a fictionalized version of a true story about a guy called Giorgio Rose, who basically built his own man-made island off the coast of Italy, created his own country,
wow,
and used the place to have a load of wild parties, and generally was a bit of a playboy.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
But the guy himself, he died last year, but he was actually involved in sort of the consultation and the early setup of the movie. It's a comedy. It's supposed to be quite good, so I might check that out over the next week or so.
Excellent. That sounds good. What's it called?
Rose Island.
Oh, I'll add it to my list. It sounds really good. Check it out. Let us know what you think.
Awesome.
Is that it for news?
I am newsed out.
Me too.
My news sack is empty.
Have you watched anything good at the top of the stream?
Not really.
Oh. Have you watched anything bad at the top of the stream?
Well, kind of.
Okay.
I mean, so the main thing I wanted to mention is, so last Saturday, what do we always say? What you're looking for on a Saturday night?
Pizza and a Magnum.
Yeah, you want a movie that you can just kind of
chill out,
really pay too much attention to. So we actually did a double header.
Oh wow!
Quite a cool one you can do on Netflix. So we watched National Lampoon's Vacation.
Nice. Good
so
film.
the original,
yeah,
from was it early 80s, late 70s?
Yeah.
Young Chevy Chase and all them. So watched that. I hadn't seen it for years. Didn't quite hold up as well as I remembered.
Oh really?
But it's still pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
Followed it up with Vacation, the remake.
Oh, with
from about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, who's in that?
With Ed Helm.
Ed Helm. That's it. I couldn't think of his name. I was thinking Jason Bateman, but that wasn't right.
And it's got the kid from Santa Clarita Diet in it. He's one of the kids.
Oh really?
Yeah. And I'd never seen it before. I quite enjoyed it.
Really? I've not seen that one. I've obviously seen the Chevy Chase one a few times, but I've never seen the new one.
So yeah, you too can do that double header if you want. And it was quite fun because they're just breezy and.
How similar are they?
They're more tied in than I thought.
Oh really?
Yeah. So like it's the same family, or right. So Ed Helm plays Chevy Chase's son.
Oh, so it's like more of a sequel than a remake.
Yeah.
I thought it was a remake.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was going to be that much of a direct sequel. So like,
oh okay,
yeah, they stop on the road trip and his sister from the first movie is in it. It's all recast. And Chevy Chase pops up at the end. Sorry, spoiler. Yeah, it was all right.
I genuinely thought it was a remake. I didn't realise it was a sequel. I'll definitely check that out.
Cool.
Another one to add to the list. I haven't done a lot of watching this week. I've finished Big Mouth season 4.
Oh yeah.
So I'm up to date with that now. It's really good. It's just it is what it is now. It's Big Mouth. It's a TV show about kids going through puberty.
Yeah.
But it is funny, and there's a few new characters in this series that's good. And I started Alien Worlds.
Oh, that we mentioned last week.
Yeah, what we mentioned last week. I've seen 2 of them now.
What do you reckon?
It's really interesting.
Does the gimmick work?
In a way, yes. I feel like I've learned more about Earth than I have about anything else.
Okay.
Because they spend a lot of time... They'll put a planet in front of you at the beginning of the episode. They'll explain what this planet is like.
Are they totally made up planets?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're like obviously based in fact. These planets potentially are out there. And then they'll use the rules of evolution on Earth to show how an animal would have evolved on that planet.
In that environment. So there's one that's got super dense gravity, and it's constantly light on one side and constantly dark on the other. And the same animal has evolved 2 different ways to survive in the 2 different environments. Sure.
And then there's one with a bird with 6 wings and it never lands because of the gravity and that sort of thing. It's really interesting, but it bases it on real life animals in this world and how they would have like evolved to cope on different planets.
All right.
So there's a lot of talk about there's some like little scorpions that can live in like sulfuric acid in this world, and it's how that sort of same environment on another planet would have evolved other animals.
Scaled it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it look alright, or does it look a bit janky? Because I'm never sure with this sort of thing. With like, obviously, like CGI is expensive.
Yeah, it's not. It's fine. It's not. I wouldn't say it was janky at all. There's bits of it looks like a computer game, but it's obviously not as pretty as like David Attenborough shows. But it's passable. It's
okay.
It's interesting. That's the most I can say about it. I mean, I've only seen 2 of them.
Well, that's good.
It's worth checking out. They're only like 40-minute episodes.
Good.
But yeah, so that's what I've been watching.
Like it.
Cool. Shall we run through the top 10 on Netflix?
Yeah, let's do that. Not done that for a couple of weeks.
Not done that for a while. First one is at number 10 is How to Get Away with Murder, which is the TV show. Presumably a new season's just dropped. Have you ever watched any of that?
I haven't. I know my wife watched a couple of seasons and then gave up because I think it just got a bit intimidating because I think it's one of them where there's just a lot of seasons.
There's 6 seasons now.
And I think it sticks with its premise for a year and then goes totally different.
It's one of those shows. I got the impression it was going to be one of those shows that had a good idea for a TV show and then kept getting renewed. Yeah. And it didn't really know where to go with it after that. I've watched the first season and I didn't feel like I needed to go back and see any more of it.
Fair enough.
So, and now there's 6 seasons in, I just kind of understand how that would work.
Yeah.
Personally, but
is it different people getting away with different murders?
I don't know.
It must be by 6 years.
Surely, but it is by now. The first season one was solved, so who knows? But people are obviously watching it. It's 10th on the stream. So number 9 is a film called The Second. Any ideas?
The Second is the 9th. No idea.
It's Ryan Felipe. It says a Secret Service agent is drawn into a terrorist plot when his son's classmate, the daughter of a Supreme Court justice, is targeted for kidnapping. Standard action film synopsis, all right there.
Just one of these random ones that breaks the top 10 because it's been pushed, isn't it? Yeah. It's obviously a newer.
It's 2020, so it's obviously maybe it was due a cinema release and it's not had it or something. Yeah. Who knows? Number 8 is The Christmas Chronicles 2.
Yeah,
which have you seen now?
No, not yet. Right. Saving it for a bit nearer Christmas.
Number 7 is The Grinch. That's holding its place in the top 10. The one with Benedict Cumberbatch in. Number 6 is Virgin River, which is also a TV show, I believe.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. It looks mildly interesting.
Searching for a fresh start, a nurse practitioner moves from LA to a remote Northern Californian town and is surprised by what and who she finds. Double dashes.
I thought you were going to ask me then.
There's double dashes around and who. It's like dash dash and who dash
what?
Dash. Yeah, she's surprised to find a virgin river. Number 5 is Rick and Morty, because I believe the second half of season 4 has appeared.
I've watched a couple more of them this week, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm still like in season 2, but yeah. I've not watched any for a while, so I watched some.
I believe that brings Netflix UK up to date.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Number 4 is The Queen's Gambit, which is incredibly still holding its place in the top 10.
I'm definitely going to get to that around over Christmas when I've got a bit of time.
The fact that it's been there for as long as it has, it's like 2 months now.
Yeah.
In the top 5, pretty much. It's incredible. Number 3 is Big Mouth. I've already mentioned that. I've already seen that. It's quite good. I don't think it's the best season they've done, But I don't think they're ever going to top that first season, and I don't think many shows even try to these days.
Fair enough.
Number 2 is The Crown, which means The Crown has been knocked off number 1 by a film, surprisingly enough. We don't see films at number 1 very often. It tends to be TV shows, doesn't it? It's always TV shows that are at number 1.
Well, because, again, you're counting slightly different things, aren't you? Because you've got, if it's The Crown, you've got 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So there's more people going to watch 10 episodes than of a film, I would have thought.
There must be some sort of algorithm that stops that.
Wow.
Because one click on a film and 10 clicks on 10 episodes of a TV show can't be counted as equal, surely.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so.
I don't know how they work it out. I genuinely don't. We should probably try and find out. The film is called Ava, A-V-A. Ever heard of it?
No.
Not me. It says, an elite assassin wrestling with doubts about her work scrambles to protect herself and her estranged family after a hit goes dangerously wrong.
Who's in it?
Jessica Chastain.
Right.
Colin Farrell. John Malkovich. Gina Davis. And some more people.
Well, that's quite a cast.
It is quite a cast. I've never heard of that, and it's number 1 in Netflix.
I feel that over the last few years, there's been quite a few of these, hasn't there? The sort of hit woman films.
Yeah.
There was, is it Lucy with Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah.
There was Hannah.
Yeah, they're all just
with
female names.
Saoirse Ronan. There was Salt.
Yeah.
That was Angelina Jolie. There's been quite a few.
Yeah, there has. That's true. I'm just trying to find out some information on it. It's not rated highly on IMDb. It's only at 5.3. That puts it like right in our way. Yeah, it's 2020.
Okay.
It's brand new. Again, it might be one of those that was due a cinema release.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Made it to Netflix. But yeah, number 1 on Netflix, but only 5.3 on IMDb. So that puts it right in our wheelhouse. So how it's got to number 1, I don't know. Do people love Jessica Chastain? It's probably that. It's got to be that, isn't it? John Malkovich also. The poster is just John Malkovich's face.
Oh, okay. So maybe he's doing heavy lifting.
He's a popular man. Anything else?
Just wanted to mention before we check in on this film this week that friend of the show and regular listener, Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
You know who you are.
Shout
Thank you very much.
Wayne brought me a cake the other day to my house.
Good.
So I'm shouting him out for that.
Was it nice?
It was a sticky toffee pudding.
Oh, lovely.
It was amazing. He just texted me. He was like, "Are you in?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, and then he just turned up at my door with a sticky toffee pudding. So he's my lockdown hero this week.
That'd be nice. Dip your poppadoms in it.
I did.
He pointed out...
Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, it's fine. He pointed out that KFC were releasing a short film / promotional video.
Yes.
And they'd recast Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
And he is being played by Mario Lopez, he of Saved by the Bell fame.
AC Slater.
They've definitely glammed up.
It's genius.
Colonel Sanders.
It's a romantic thriller, I think.
Okay.
The tagline is a recipe for seduction. The film's called A Recipe for Seduction, I think.
He's this romantic lead with muscles, and he sort of said, what are the famous mascots or advertising icons could you recast with real people?
Oh wow!
Shall I read a couple off?
Let's do it.
See if I can find what he sent us. Again, I've not got my phone prepared, so
that's all right.
I might have to edit this bit.
I can cut it.
Okay, there's not many. There's only a few. So Ronald McDonald.
Yeah,
is the biggest of them all, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's going to play if we're recasting him?
I don't know. That's a tough one, isn't it? Because it's just a clown.
But I'm going to make him Scottish.
Okay.
He's dead now. But
shit.
Maybe we could weekend at Berners Sean Connery.
Sean Connery is Ronald McDonald. I'll take that.
Yeah.
That works. I was going to try and do it in his accent then, but I'm not going to.
I was gonna. Yeah, I don't think I've got it in me either. Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger.
Yeah. Are you doing him like CG, or are you costuming up a person?
I'm CGing him, and then Joe Exotic as the voice.
I like that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, love it. The Jolly Green Giant.
Peter Dinklage.
So. Yeah, I like it. That's very being John Malkovich.
I'm up for it.
So, but he's going to be massive.
Yeah.
Because he's still going to be
you CGI in him. It's got to be a giant.
So yeah,
it'd be awesome
for anyone outside of the UK, because I don't know if this is a worldwide famous thing, but he advertises sweet corn. So yeah,
that's really random, but he does. That's true.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage is a great idea.
I'm up for it.
Captain Birdseye.
Captain Birdseye.
He of frozen fish and.
Is he any relation to
sort of stuff?
Colonel Sanders? Are they like?
Maybe they went to the same military school.
Can we have the guy? The other guy from Saved by the Bell.
Oh,
what's his name?
Zach or Screech?
Screech. Screech would be a brilliant Captain Birdseye.
Dustin Diamond.
Is it? Oh, isn't he in prison? Is he in prison?
I don't know if he's in prison. He did some sex videos, didn't he?
Who hasn't? Probably Captain Birdseye. Birdseye is Dustin Diamond, please.
Done. Deal.
We've got any other military men that Zach can play?
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there will be. Everyone's going to be shouting at us now.
They are. Mark Paul Gosselaar.
That's it.
Something like that.
That's back, isn't it?
What is?
Saved by the Bell.
Is it?
It's been rebooted. Yeah. I don't know how you could watch it in this country because it's on an American streaming service. Is it Peacock?
Yeah, that's NBC's.
Yeah. I've seen the trailer.
Really? Has it got any originals in?
Most of them.
No way.
Apart from Dustin Diamond because of said sex issues.
Videos. I'm definitely going to find that out.
Yeah, check the trailer out.
I will do. Right. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Something that I would really like to watch that is, again, also I don't think available in this country is, so another streaming service over in the States, Hulu, have released a load of new episodes of the Animaniacs.
Oh, really?
And I used to love that when I was younger. Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
I'd love to be able to check that out. I might have to see if I can find
There'll be ways. There's always ways and means.
Yeah. Okay. We should probably talk about this movie.
We should probably talk about the movie. We keep waffling on, people will turn off. Right.
They've downloaded it. It's all right.
It's all right. We're not Netflix. Right, this week we watched a film called Shimmer Lake. It is from 2017. It is a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 26 minutes and is currently rated at 6.3 on IMDb. Stars a guy called Benjamin Walker, who plays a character called Zeke. Most famous, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, most famous for being in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, where he played Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, nice.
Have you seen Abraham Lincoln Vampire
No,
Hunter?
I've never seen it.
I've seen it. It's all right. He's also in The Heart of the Sea, which was a big film a few years ago. It's got quite a lot of the Avengers in. Tom Holland's definitely in it. Chris Hemsworth. And I think Mark Ruffalo's in it as well.
Oh, wow.
This film also stars Rainn Wilson as Andy. Obviously most famous for The Office. The American Office. Or is it called The American Office or just called The Office, but it's in America?
The Office, yeah.
He was also in Juno with Elliot Page. And he also stars in a film called Super.
I've seen Super.
Super's really good. I was going to ask you if
Isn't she in that as well?
Yes, I think she is.
Isn't Elliot Page in that? Yeah.
He.
Okay, sorry. Still getting used to that.
And stars a lady called Stephanie Sigman. I didn't write down her character name. That's really bad of me. Steph.
Yeah.
And she was a Bond girl in Spectre.
I've not seen that.
In Spectre. In the film called Spectre. Written and directed by a guy called Oren Oziel. This is the only film he's ever directed, but he did write The Cloverfield Paradox.
Oh,
which was the third in the Cloverfield installment.
Yeah, also, the spacey one.
Yes. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I think it's on Netflix. 10 Cloverfield Lane's definitely on Netflix.
I think. I don't know if the first one is. The other two are. Yeah,
definitely. He also has a writing credit on 22 Jump Street.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. Those films.
And he has a story creation credit for the new Mortal Kombat film that's coming next year.
Oh, lovely.
So check him out. He's written quite a lot of good stuff, but this is the only film he's ever directed, possibly for reasons. This film was also on the Blacklist in 2009. So we've talked about the Blacklist before.
So it's been hanging around for a
very long
good
time.
few years.
Yeah, very long time. We talked about the Blacklist. Blacklist is basically completed screenplays that people want made but nobody dare make. I think that's basically how you describe it.
Yeah, they're the hottest
top unmade screenplays.
Unmade or unpurchased screenplays.
And this was on there in 2009. And it was made in 2017, so it was on there for a while. Do you have a one-word review?
Echo Remis.
What? Oh, I get you. Because it's backwards. Shimmer Lake. This film's backwards.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Fine. It wasn't...
Shall we say what we thought about the film at the beginning? We should do the show backwards.
So, next week... I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's a gimmick.
I don't know if I needed it.
No, you didn't need it, I don't think. It's a gimmick where at the beginning of the film you have no fucking clue what's going on. And by the end of the film you know there's a twist coming. And it's just, it cannot be done any other way. It's impossible.
It depends whether you think... I mean, it depends whether you think the story was strong enough to tell it the right way round, just as a thriller.
Yeah. I think I'm going to talk about it at the end. I think it handled its twist well. And I don't think that twist works if it's at the beginning of the film. But we'll get to that as we come through it, I suppose. But
sure.
I didn't like the gimmick all the way through. And then at the end, I'm like, actually, it wouldn't have worked any other way.
Yeah.
So where does this film start, Nick?
A lake.
I've written a shimmering lake.
Shimmering.
It does. We get zoomed in on a shimmering lake and cut straight to the title card. The title card's the very first thing you see. And we cut to a nice house.
What did you think of... Oh, no, that happens in a minute. Carry on.
Okay.
No.
We get to the house, we go inside the house, and there's a body on the floor. Or I've written there's a body on the floor, but it turns out it's actually alive.
Yeah.
And it kind of wakes up. This film's set in chapters as well, so every day is its own chapter, with its own chapter title.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
Yeah.
I quite liked the little subtitles.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all, to be fair. The first one's called Friday, Andy Heads to the Lake, which sounds like the name of a children's book. Do you know?
Yeah, I suppose it does.
Andy Heads to the Lake.
It's very Toy Story.
And we meet Andy for the first time. Andy is Rainn Wilson's character. He's not got a top on, and
he's in a basement.
Yeah, he's in the basement of his house, kind of washing himself.
Yeah,
and he can hear some voices upstairs, and then a young girl makes her way down to the basement.
Yeah, she's come to get her breakfast cereal.
Yes, and
which is really, I think it's really inconvenient storing it way down.
An awful place to store your breakfast cereal. It's not like, unless you've got like a big vat of it, and you need it in the basement. Why on earth are you putting it in the basement?
You've got to ladle it out every morning.
You've got to go all the way downstairs, get your cereal, take it all the way back upstairs, pour your cereal, then take it all the way downstairs again to put it back, and then come all the way back up again to eat it.
It's not efficient.
It's not efficient. Very much not efficient. She comes down the stairs. He covers her mouth and says, "It's me, it's me, it's me." It turns out, is he a dad?
Yes.
He's a dad. And
he says to her, "Don't tell anyone you've seen Daddy down here."
Yeah, it's like our own little secret.
Yeah.
And she doesn't, to be fair.
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, I can ride with that. I
can deal with that." When she goes back up the stairs, there's a policeman standing there and a lady we presume is her mum. It turns out it is her mum, and the policeman is her uncle.
Correct.
And her dad's brother. And
that is what an uncle is.
It could be her mum's brother.
Well, I suppose so.
That is Zeke. That is Benjamin Walker's character. He's
the sheriff.
Yep. And they're talking about Andy being missing. Nobody knows where he is.
Yeah. Been gone a couple of days.
Yeah. Sally heads back down. He knows that something's been going on in the basement because he could hear voices. And
well,
it's kind of...
see, I didn't like this straight away. It was too... This bit, I mean, this was too heavy-handed.
Yeah, it was.
She literally comes back up the stairs, this little girl, and he pounces on her. Sounds right. But he does. He's in her face. He says, "Who are you talking to down there?" And the mum kind of says, "Oh, she's got an imaginary friend."
Yeah.
But he was quite like...
He talks to her...
He wasn't acting like he heard her talk.
They have a scene later on, and he talks to her like she's an adult. He does all the way through this film. He talks to her like she's like a grown adult. And she goes back at him with it, and later on, which really made me laugh. Yeah. But anyway, she goes back down to the basement to put her cereal back, and Zeke kind of follows her down there because he knows something's kicking off.
Yeah,
and he draws his gun and tells her to get out. So he knows something's going. He thinks Andy's down there because he's obviously suspicious. He's the sheriff of this town, and his brother's missing. We know no more of what's happened at this point.
This is what I mean, though, because he does go down there because he's suspicious. Why didn't he go down there straight away when the guy was still there?
Yeah, exactly, because he misses Andy. Andy, he hears a car drive off upstairs, doesn't he?
They have a whole conversation between him before he actually goes and checks.
Yeah, it was clunky. It was a clunky start.
Yeah, it was clunky. Zeke, so yeah, as you say, Zeke's in the basement now. He hears tyres screech and, a car going away very fast.
Going away. It turns out somebody's nicked the next door neighbour's car. So Zeke leaves. He goes off to pick up his partner.
He gives the neighbour a lift.
He gives the neighbour a lift to work. And
I did quite like this running joke.
Yeah, I did as well, because you didn't know what was going on this first time, because as his partner got in the car, he kind of screams, and he gets really angry that he's got to sit in the back seat.
Yeah.
And was like, what the fuck? What's wrong with him? But it becomes a running joke, and it is actually quite funny. Because Zeke's given the neighbour a ride to work.
Yeah, so Reed, his partner, has to go in the back.
Yeah. We have a quick cut to a lady who we don't know who she is at this point. And she's just packing a suitcase.
She's applying some makeup as well. She's got a bruised face.
But yeah,
she's clearly getting ready to go somewhere.
We've not been introduced to her, and we don't know who she is at this point. Zeke and his partner. Now, I've written his partner all the way through this, and I never once checked his name.
Reed.
Reed, okay.
It's played by Adam Pally, who's I think he's in the Mindy Project. He's been in a few sitcoms, and there's a lot of comedic actors in this.
It's actually, there's bits of it that are quite funny, though, to be fair.
There are, yeah.
It is a black comedy, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
it has its moments.
It isn't funny, but there's bits of it that are. Does that make sense? Am I talking bullshit?
Yeah, no, it has its moments.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. We'll come on to it. I'm not sure how well this hangs together as a whole.
Agreed.
Piece.
Zeke and his partner meet up with two feds, and they're at a judge's house.
So the FBI agents are played by Rob Corddry, who you'd know from Hot Tub Time Machine. He was in Community quite a bit. He's been in loads of
Ballers
stuff.
With the Rock.
And
that's where I knew him from.
Ron Livingston, who I always enjoy him in stuff. I think he's really underrated. So he was in Office Space.
Yeah.
He was in Band of Brothers, where he's doing some more serious stuff. Again, a recognisable face, and I always think it's a pleasure to see him, to be honest. Yeah,
they were both really good in this, actually.
Yeah.
The scene later on where they explain who they are, I thought was really interesting. They're really funny.
Yeah.
As they get to this, they've gone to investigate. We know they're investigating something again. At this point, we don't know what. But there's a sheriff, a deputy sheriff, and two feds now, so we know something's kicking off. And they're at this judge's house.
Yeah.
And when they get there, the door's open.
They kind of, again, a bit clumsily, but in their conversation, it is the exposition is given to us that they're at the home of Judge Dawkins, and he owns a bank. The bank got robbed a few days ago.
Yeah. So we kind of know where we're heading towards now.
Yeah.
The door's open, so they go inside, check out what's going on. They all four of them draw their guns. And they get to the stairs, and there's a big blood spatter on the stairs.
Sure.
And when they head upstairs, they find Judge Dawkins dead in a pool of blood. Appears to have been shot.
Yeah, I would say so.
And we leave him there, kind of. We cut to Andy. He's at a lake, the lake that we saw earlier on. He's got a huge bag. We don't know what's in the bag at this point, but he throws it into the undergrowth. We kind of leave him there.
We then cut to the woman who we saw earlier. She is standing in front of a gravestone, and it is of a child who was 5, because we get a lingering shot on the dates on the gravestone.
Yeah. Cut back to the sheriff's office. All 4 of them are now back in the sheriff's office, and they're printing out some wanted posters. And on the wanted posters are Andy's face and a guy called Ed.
Yeah.
And this is the 2 guys that they're looking for in connection with this bank robbery, and we know that Andy is Zeke's brother, so it must be quite awkward for the sheriff to be searching for his own brother.
And Zeke's sort of saying, isn't he, you've got it wrong. Andy's my brother. He's a patsy.
Yeah, I know
he's still going to be here somewhere.
He's like, I know he was there, but there's no way he's fled the town or anything. And the feds are convinced that Ed and Andy are still together.
Yeah,
so they're working off that. And then we cut back to Andy, back at the lake again. And this lady that we've been talking about before, she arrives at the lake. Yep. And it looks like she's about to pick him up. He drops the bag in the back of her car. And he goes around to the door. And then an arm pops out of the window and shoots him.
Yeah, he shoots him dead.
He died. Yeah, he's killed.
Again, a bit clunky, I thought. The arm extends out of the car, and a very lingering shot on a distinguishing tattoo on the forearm of the shooter, and it said state champs, whatever year it was, I can't remember.
But obviously we don't know at this point who that was.
No.
And then we cut to Thursday. And this is the second chapter of the film, and the title is Judge Dawkins Calls an Old Friend.
So we're going back in time.
So we've seen what happens at the end now. We're moving back towards... It's not all 5 days, is it? It starts on a Tuesday.
Yes, that's right.
It does. The bank robbery happens on the
Tuesday. By saying start, you mean end.
Yes.
But
yeah, you know what I mean. Andy shows up kind of flustered at Steph's house.
Yes, and he says Judge Dawkins has got the money.
Yep. And he's somehow, for some reason, spent the night in a junkyard, I've written down.
Yeah, and she seems in charge of this situation.
Yeah.
Because she gives him a gun and says, sort it out, go and get the money.
Yeah. Cut to Zeke, he's with Andy's wife, Martha?
Yes.
Yes. And they're having a chat about Andy. Zeke says he doesn't think Andy is involved, but he can't promise anything. And she should probably start to think about moving on.
There's another running joke, isn't it? That starts at Zeke is appalled by the food that Martha.
It did look rank, to be fair.
So, I was going to say it is the best cinematography in this movie is probably how horrible they make the food look.
It does.
She cooks all this fried chicken
it's
and
just
meatloaf
soggy and horrible,
greasy and.
He has a bit of an argument with the daughter, and he decides he's going to take her for a drive in the police car.
He basically vents at her.
Yeah, so he takes her for a drive in the police car, and like I said earlier, he talks like she's an adult to her, so he's venting his frustrations at her.
He's saying he's trying to clean up the town,
He calls himself the only clean person in a dirty town.
Yeah.
And he goes to pick his partner up again, and obviously his partner's now got to go in the back seat.
Because the kid's in the front. And I liked it. Good joke. Solid. I haven't got... No.
Oh, what? I thought you were going to say what she said.
No, you go.
I can't remember how it came up, though. They were talking about Andy, I think.
Reed comes up and says, basically, can you move? Do you want to move in the back? Can I sit in the front?
Yeah, but he, for some reason, before that, they had a conversation. Him and the young girl, who's about 5, had a conversation, and he described somebody as a fat fucking bastard.
Yeah.
I can't remember who. He might have been talking about Andy. So when the partner asks the young girl to get in the back so he can get in the front, she's like, no, get in the back yourself, you fat fucking bastard. And it really made me I love it when kids swear. There's just something funny about it. I'm sure you don't feel the same, but...
No, it was done really well in this. It was funny.
It is funny, and I'd love it if I ever heard your kid swear. It would just make my day. But that would never happen because they're well behaved.
But she was really venomous with it as well, and it was funny.
It was. She just called him a fat fucking bastard. It was funny. It was the funniest bit of the film. Cut back to Steph. She find some trainers, or does she get some trainers from somewhere? I think I missed a bit. I'm like,
she was. All right, what happened?
I think whilst I was laughing at that girl saying that, I missed this bit.
So she's in she's opening a closet.
Yeah.
And she sets an iron on the top of the door.
Yeah, I saw that bit.
So just as she's prepping that, she finds these trainers in the cupboard. Presumably they were going to be a gift she was going to give her kid.
Yeah. Ah, okay, that makes sense.
But he then died, so you can't have your trainers. And so she set this iron up on the door.
Yeah.
And she's standing underneath it. She opens the door. The iron brains are on her head. Yeah. So that's how she got the injury that we saw her covering over
the next day, or the previous next day.
Yeah.
Because she is in a relationship with this guy Ed, who we've not met yet.
Yes.
And she's obviously trying to make out that he's attacked her or something, but we don't know because we're not there yet.
There's some news on the background.
Yeah.
In the background, and the local news specifically names Ed and Andy as these two suspects associated with this bank robbery that the police are looking for. And the news reporter is it a motel?
Yes.
And
is that Rainn?
I quite like this.
Is that Rainn I can hear?
Yeah, can you hear it?
I can hear it in your background. I can't hear it here, but I can hear it in your background.
Yeah, so this news report's going on. There's a local reporter on the scene. And in the background of the news report, the 2 FBI agents and the 2 policemen walk past. And then the movie sort of cuts to them with the news reporter behind them. I thought, that's a bit different.
That's quite clever, yeah. There's been a body found at this hotel.
Sure.
When they walk in, one of the partner, what's his name?
Reed.
He kind of walks out in disgust. And Zeke explains that, look, we don't get many dead bodies here. It's a small town. And we know this guy. And this is, what was his name? Chris?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And he has a connection to Ed. And
they both used to run a meth lab.
Yeah, basically. And Andy was the prosecutor for their case.
Yes.
So there's a connection there between this guy who's dead in the hotel and Ed and Andy who are both missing.
And it basically turns out further in this conversation that Ed's son, who is clearly the same son that this woman has been mourning, died in an accident at this meth lab.
Yeah.
And Andy helped Ed get a lenient sentence, basically.
Yeah.
He was suggestion is here that he was bribed.
Yeah. The rumour is that he was paid off. Did he say he got 8 months? Something similar like to that, wasn't it? Then they go and meet Steph. The two cops go off to meet Steph. Well, no, did she call them? Yeah, she did, because the partner comes back in and he says, "Oh, Steph's been on the phone." Because obviously, this is a small town; they all know each other, and she's reporting the fact that Ed's been to the house and has beat her up.
Yeah, and left with all the money.
Left with the money, yeah.
And he's told her he's going to Mexico.
Yes, but he's got one more thing to take care of first. They obviously all assume that Andy's the thing that he's going to have to take care of.
Sure.
They have that
which lines up with what we saw at the start.
Yes. Andy makes a phone call at this point to Zeke, who manages to get away from the rest of the cops, and they have a bit of a chat. He tells Zeke that he's in Mexico, but he clearly isn't in Mexico. And he says he never took Ed's money. He was never bribed. And Zeke's like, "Well, you definitely were. It's obvious." And eventually Andy admits it. He was like, "Yeah, I was. It's true. I did take this money." And Zeke's kind of persuading him to turn himself in. He's like, "If you don't turn yourself in, I can't help you. You'll have to just face the consequences." And then Zeke hands up on Andy. And then he goes back to the other cops and he lies to his partner about who was on the phone. But the partner isn't stupid and he clearly knows. And then we cut to the judge.
Yeah.
He's on the phone to somebody. Who do we know who he was on the phone to?
Yeah, he was on the phone to... he was asking for some company. So it was the person who later joins him. So he's basically paid $1,000 for someone to come and keep him company, shall we say.
We'll find out who that was in a minute. This is the point where Martha's made some fried chicken, and it looks rank.
Oh, it's horrible.
And does it look
really like skin is really like slopping off it?
Yeah, it's all wet. There's nothing worse than wet chicken. Sally, who's the young girl, asks Zeke if she's his new daddy. She's her new daddy. He's her new daddy. I'll say that right. Zeke says, "You don't need a new daddy. Your old one will be back in a minute, or at some point." And then we cut back to Judge Dawkins, and he's now in bed with a very young-looking dude.
Yeah,
and
with like green hair,
like a little rent boy. And they're doing some drugs together. They've clearly been entertaining themselves with some naughtiness. But little unbeknownst to them, Andy has broken in, and he's downstairs.
This judge guy just leaves his door open all the time.
Yeah, exactly that.
And also his house door.
Yeah. Talking of leaving doors open, the rent boy at this point says that he needs to go for a shit.
Yeah.
So apparently,
it's like, it's the meth. It's not good for my stomach.
I didn't like this scene. I thought it was a bit too silly. It's completely out of place with the rest of the film. Andy bursts in just as the rent boys shut the bathroom door. He instantly finds the money, which was not well hidden. It was literally just under the bed. They have a bit of a fight, don't they? The two of them, they have a bit of a scuffle between them. All the time, this rent boy's still pooing.
He's trying not to.
Yeah.
He's trying to hold it in.
And Dawkins says to Andy, look, because Andy goes to open the door because he hears a noise. And he's like, "Don't open that door. Whatever you do, don't open that door. Things will never be the same again if you open that door." But obviously Andy does open the door, and in there he sees a naked, shitting young boy.
You're making it sound funnier than it was.
I'm trying to make it sound funnier than it was, because it was the funniest bit of the film and it was so out of place. Then we cut kind of to that guy's perspective, so all you can see is outside the toilet door now.
Yeah,
and
you can just see
them like scuffling.
The frame of the door.
Yeah, you can see them scuffling between them, and then suddenly the gun goes off. Dawkins stands up, which is a surprise to everybody. He's got a bit of blood on him, and then he starts rambling about his slippers.
Yeah,
it's like a comedy version of that scene in Breaking Bad where Gus Fring dies. Breaking Bad spoiler, apologies.
Exactly. And then he turns round and there's quite half his head's missing.
He's got a gaping wound.
And I was like, whoa, I didn't see, like, I wasn't expecting just that random bit of gore.
It just came out of nowhere. And in the most comedy scene in the film, there's a massive bit of gore. And eventually the guy just collapses to the floor. He survived originally, and he was ranting about needing some slippers, and then he just collapses to the floor.
It's like, Barbara, where's my slippers?
Andy grabs the rent boy out of the toilet, and he held...
What a sentence.
Something I never thought I'd say. He's threatening to shoot him, and obviously the guy's begging for his life, and eventually Andy lets him go.
Yeah, he can't finish off the rent boy, can he?
He can't kill somebody in cold blood. And
no.
Andy leaves with all the money. So we know now where he got the big bag from and what was in the big bag. The feds are staking out this house badly. Oh, they're staking out Steph's house.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
And then this naked rent boy just runs past them.
Yeah.
So they must live quite close together.
It ties into a joke. The setup was earlier in the film because the first time we meet the feds, Ron Livingston's character is like, "Oh, I saw this naked kid last night. What was getting?" But the other fed had missed it because he was looking for something in the car. And actually, they're the bits I like most about this film, with those little jokes like
where
that.
the punchline comes first, and then you get the setup afterwards.
Yeah, I didn't care for the way it used this to propel the story, but I did enjoy the way it set up these little jokes.
Yeah, agreed. And then we cut to Wednesday. Wednesday is entitled "Chris Morrow Gets In Over His Head."
Sure.
And we meet Chris. Have we met Chris before? Apart from when he was dead?
Dead version.
So this is a live Chris now. And
so this is the guy they found on the motel floor.
He wakes up in a car. Turns out he's sitting next to Andy, who's also asleep in the car. And he wakes Andy up, which was also quite funny, because he was trying to do it quietly, then he just made a big bird noise and woke him up.
It would be fair to say Chris is not quite all
there.
Yeah,
he's not the full ticket. But he's panicking. He's proper panicking at this point, because he says to Andy, "Ed fucked us last night." And Andy says that to Chris, and Chris doesn't believe the fact that Ed would do that to them because they're mates.
Yeah.
And they turn the radio on, and Andy says to him, "Turn the radio on," obviously implying, "Let's hear some news, see what's going on." And Chris just turns some music on, and that made me chuckle a little bit as well. And they hear about Zeke being shot on the radio, because Zeke had been shot. We haven't mentioned that.
Yeah.
He had a very...
Well, yeah, we didn't know. This is the first time we had it
because Zeke's been in this film all the way through, and doesn't appear to have any ill effects from this gunshot wound.
He might have favoured his shoulder a couple of times, but we've not seen any evidence of it up until now.
It turned out during the bank robbery, Zeke had got shot. And
again, all three of them are named
specifically
as suspects that are being looked for.
Ed, Andy, and Chris. Andy wants to go off and call Zeke to make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
And he tells Chris, "Go and hide the car. Park it in one of these. We're in the middle of nowhere. Park it in one of these barns or something. Wait there with the car. Don't go anywhere else. And then meet me in the junkyard at 10 o'clock."
Sure.
Then we cut to Zeke, and for this scene, he's in agony. We now know that he's been shot, so we have to prove that, I guess. He's trying to put his gun back together, and he's taking some painkillers. But I was like, he's not showed any signs of that all the way through this. He got over it within a day.
Yeah. They had a good. The third day was the recovery day.
Yeah, obviously. And he goes to pick up his partner, and unfortunately, when he gets there, his partner can't get in the car because Steph's in the front seat. So this is the third time now, but obviously he gets less and less angry all the way through. So it's quite funny. Zeke meets with the feds, who we find out at this point are called Kirk and Kyle.
They introduce themselves, and this was a real nice, slick exchange.
What's the other guy called?
Because
this was his highlight in the film. The guy who's not Ron Livingston.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, Rob Corddry. In real life, you mean?
Sorry. Yeah, he was. This was his shining moment in this film. I thought it was really good.
And I won't be able to do it justice, but basically, Zeke says to them, "Look, we're a small town. Everyone knows each other. I can solve this. I am quite happy for you guys to come along. You can have all the credit, but just don't get in my way. Let me take care of it, and then you guys can ride off into the sunset saying you've solved the case." And Rob Corddry, his character says, "Look, we're not the A team. We're not the B team. we're like the B team to the D team. And he basically says, we're not interested in this. We're quite happy for you to do all the work.
Yeah, we've just been sent here
and we'll take the credit.
Yeah, we've just been sent here. We don't want to be doing it. We're not bothered. The money's insured anyway. Nobody really cares.
Yeah.
But it was a shine. The way he explained it, it was Rob Corddry always plays those sort of characters, and he played it really well.
No, it was nice. It was nice.
Basically, they're only there because they have to be there.
Yeah.
So they decide to head over to Chris's place to investigate his house, I guess, or caravan that he lives in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the four of them do. And when they get there, Andy's car's parked there, which is incriminating, I guess.
Sure.
They search his place. He's not there. They find somebody lying in the bed of his house, though, or his caravan.
They do.
And they all draw their guns. They pull back the blanket. And there's a sex doll there with a jumper on that's got Steph written on it, but spelt wrong, which I thought was quite funny. Yeah. So Steph, we obviously know now that Chris has got a bit of a crush on Steph. And in the very next scene, Steph calls Chris. Because he's sitting in a barn with his car waiting for...
Yeah, he's done what Andy's asked him to do. To be fair.
So Steph calls him and says, I need to meet you. Come to the motel.
Yeah, she says, I'm with Ed.
Yeah.
We've got the money. Get over here and we'll split it up. And she says, come alone because Ed doesn't trust Andy.
Yeah. So we know at this point that she's kind of playing everybody now.
She seems to be calling the shots.
We seem to know what's going on. Later that day, Zeke is eating dinner with Martha and Sally again. Again, looked rank. And Martha's saying, look, I don't think it's Andy. I don't think Andy's involved in this. And Zeke's like, I saw him with my own eyes. He's definitely involved.
It's very terse, isn't it, compared to their later meetings?
And we follow Chris now, and he goes to meet Steph at this hotel. And she's kind of teasing him a little bit. She makes him because he took a gun with him, and she makes him put the gun down. She got the money as well at this point. Yeah. It's difficult to keep track of where the money is because it moves around a lot, but backwards. So you don't really know who's got it at any point. So she's teasing him a little bit, and she obviously knows he's got this crush on her, and she gets undressed in front of him and heads into the shower, and she completely lets him watch.
Yeah.
she's definitely trying to intimidate him. But while she's in the shower, our old mate Judge Dawkins shows up.
He's also been called to this room. And she just winds them both up.
Yeah, she does. She knows how to play both of their bells. That sounds wrong.
So, Steph basically, it comes out in this conversation that Steph and Ed have an incriminating tape of the judge, which I think we can guess what's on that. And she tells the judge, you need to hold on to this cash for a couple of days while everything cools down. And she says, in a couple of days, we will bring you the tape, you can give us the cash back, and we're all square.
The judge has a bit of a panic, though, doesn't he? And Chris kind of sets on him a little bit.
Yeah, because they're both surprised you're the ones there.
So the judge picks up the gun, and Chris is like, almost confronting him about being there. Yeah. And the gun's a machine gun, I should point out. And it accidentally goes off, and rips through Chris, rips through the wall of the hotel, but completely misses Steph.
It was very lucky.
It was very lucky. It was the whole wall was
shower screen
riddled
must
in
have
bullet
been
holes, and Chris was
bulletproof.
Chris was riddled with bullet holes, but Steph got away scot-free. So the judge leaves with the money. We know the judge later had the money when Andy shot him. And Steph leaves. She leaves Chris there, lying on the floor, dead. And it was quite obvious that she knew what was going to happen. She set that up completely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he manipulated the pair of them.
Cut to the next scene. Andy's in the junkyard and he's waiting for Chris, but obviously Chris is going to stand him up because he's dead now. And we cut back to Judge Dawkins, who's now in bed with a lady.
His wife.
Yeah. He explains that he wants to take her away for the weekend, but that she should go first, and he will join her in a couple of days.
Yeah, get all set up.
Get it all set up.
Stashes the cash under the bed.
He basically wants to get her out of the way because he knows shit's about to go down, I guess. Plus he wants to have a bit of time with his rent boy. He has a bit of a cry in front of his wife as well, doesn't he?
He does.
And then we cut to Tuesday. So this is the day where it all kicks off. And the Tuesday is called Ed Burton Makes a Choice. They all sound like kids' books.
They
kids
do
reading books. And the day starts with Steph and Ed together, and they're talking about how today's the big day and how this is everything they've planned.
Yeah, they argue a bit about the dead kid, don't they?
Ed turns out Ed doesn't want to do it, but he kind of has to.
Yeah.
And Steph basically outright says to him, "I blame you for killing my son." And
because it was his fault, from what we hear.
And he's like, "It was my son as well, blah, blah, blah." They have a proper big argument, and he eventually leaves. Cut to Andy and Martha and Sally having their family breakfast together, and there's tension in this family, I guess.
He's horrible. He makes everyone cry.
He's a dick. I've written he's a dick.
He can't go to the dance recital because he's robbing the bank. Not that he tells them that, but he's got other plans for the evening. Then we cut to Zeke going to pick up Reed for the day at work, and this time Ed is in the front of the cop car. Because Reed sort of passed him by and said, "Oh, get in, I'll give you a lift." To see your parole officer.
Yeah, I think that's where he was heading. He said he used to be the high school quarterback when they were all at school together, and he was like,
and then we have a conversation with the three of them, so the two cops and Ed, and they were all on the same high school football team.
But one's ripping the crap out of they're all ripping the crap out of the partner, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is this where we find out that Ed's blackmailing Dawkins now? It is, because Ed calls him, doesn't he? They have a phone call, and Ed's trying to get the combination for the safe out of him.
Yeah.
Because remember, Dawkins owns the bank. Remember that.
Correct.
So he's got this tape of Dawkins with this, presumably is a sex tape, and he's blackmailing him over it, and he does eventually get the safe combination.
He's gonna Dustin Diamond him.
Cut to Andy, Ed, and Chris. This is the first time we see them all together, and they're in Ed's house, and they're kind of syncing their watches together, and they're all a bit tense. They're all a bit highly strung, and this is the point where we find out the roles. So Chris is going to be the getaway driver, Andy's going to be the lookout, and Ed is going to do the majority of the work inside the bank. Andy calls Zeke the stupidest cop in history in this scene, and they've obviously got some tension between them, and you don't really get that for the rest of the film. You don't see much from Andy's point of view until we get to this day.
Yeah, and
obviously
and
gets killed at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And the film slowly reveals what an absolute piece of work he is. He's an absolute douchebag. He really is. And we basically find out that the planet is it's a small town. The bank is basically got a load of money in there ready to pay out crop profits to all the local farmers the next day.
Yeah.
So
Zeke has to spend the night there as like a security guard.
There, basically, yeah.
So they can overpower him. They've got the combination for the safe. It's an old school bank. There's no technology in there. Sure. And they'll overpower Zeke, open the vault, take the money, and get away with it.
Yeah.
So we cut to Zeke then heading over to the bank. He's clocking in for the night. Dawkins is just in the middle of locking it all up, getting everything ready. And Dawkins is about as subtle as a housebreak at this point. He obviously knows the bank's going to be robbed that night. So he implies to Zeke that, look, if anything should happen tonight, I wouldn't be against you shooting people. Should the bank be robbed?
He actually says to him, shoot first, ask questions later. I will support you.
I'm the judge.
Basically.
Nothing's going to happen. I'm the judge. It's very, very unsubtle. And then the bank robbery starts. And after Dawkins has left, the three guys burst in. Zeke completely keeps his cool. He's not phased in the slightest.
I did quite like how he played it.
Yeah, he played it completely straight.
Yeah.
Ed can't get the door open because he can't read his own writing through his mask that he's wearing.
And Andy can't disable the CCTV.
Yeah.
So that's a bit slapstick.
Yeah, a little bit. Does he end up just whacking it until it goes off?
Yeah, he does, yeah. And then he goes and does his lookout job, doesn't he?
Yeah. Zeke says to Ed, look, your mask's not doing anything. I know exactly who you are. Why are you even wearing a mask? We went to school together. And Andy says, I'm not Ed. And Ed says, I'm not Ed. I'm Doug Schwarzenegger.
Arnold's younger brother.
It really made me laugh. And eventually Zeke helps him get into the vault. He actually reads out the combination to him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to get into...
And Zeke says, look, it doesn't matter. It's all insured.
Yeah, just take it.
Take it. We'll get it back.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Ed pulls the gun on Zeke, doesn't he, at one point? But then he admits that he's not capable of killing people. And Zeke says to him, well, you killed Ed Jr. pretty good. And you're like, wow. And Ed freaks out at that point. He loses his shit a little bit. He tries to lock Zeke in the vault. He's like, the vault's open now, get in there. And Zeke's like, what if I suffocate in there? He's winding him up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And eventually Zeke shoots him. Zeke shoots Ed. And at this point, Steph walks out. So this is all part of the plan. And the twist is being revealed. And it turns out Zeke and Steph are in on this and knew it was going to happen. And they're getting Ed back for what he did to her son.
Yeah.
And Ed's lying on the floor. He's like, it was my son as well. And Zeke's like, it wasn't. It's mine. You're like, ooh, a twist.
Yeah.
So yeah, it turns out Zeke is the father of Ed Jr., who was killed. And Ed is not the father. And Zeke, this is their payback for him killing Zeke, I guess. Killing Ed Jr.
Yeah.
And then Zeke kills Ed.
He does. So he explains his plan, and then he pops the cap right into Ed's head, and they wrap him up. Zeke injects himself, doesn't he, with a painkiller?
Yeah. Well, it kind of numbs his arm, doesn't it? It's like a what do they call him? I don't know.
Yes, one of them. And then
anesthetic.
And then Steph shoots him in the arm.
Yes.
In the shoulder.
And he's like, I didn't feel a thing. That was great. That anesthetic worked really well. Obviously, Andy and Chris have heard the gunshots that's going on inside, so they know shit's gone down. So they leg it. And they kind of flee in Chris's car. Zeke and Steph load Ed's body up into the boot of Steph's car. She drives off. Ed goes back into the bank. Zeke goes back into the bank, sorry. And kind of lies down. Well, he sets off the alarm, doesn't he, for the bank? And then kind of lies down in the blood spatter.
Yep. Until
his partner shows up and reveals the crime, basically. So it looks like Zeke's been shot. Ed, Andy and Chris have all fled. Some other cops pull over Andy and Chris's car. This is like bumbling cop moment. But they get a call that the bank's being robbed. So they're like, oh, this is your lucky day, lads, and let them go. And then they head over to the bank. And
Zeke describes the car they went off in.
Yeah.
And the cop's like, oh, we just stopped them.
Yeah. So Zeke says it's Ed, Chris and Andy. He knows exactly who it was. Zeke says to his partner, this is about Ed Jr. And his partner says, don't worry about it, we will get him. And Zeke ends the film with one final line where he says, as far as I'm concerned, he's already got.
Yeah.
And the film ends.
And obviously we probably should have mentioned, whilst Zeke was injecting himself with the anaesthetic, you could clearly see on his forearm a state champ's tattoo.
Yeah. So he was the one at the beginning of the film that killed Andy.
His brother. Yeah. There you go.
So Steph and Zeke drive off into the sunset with the money, but they did that at the beginning of the film rather than at the end.
Sure.
Thoughts?
Look, it was fine.
That's exactly how I would describe it. It's fine. It's not going to win any awards. It's not shaking any trees. This, like I said at the beginning, this sort of film is paint by numbers. You know you're not going to know what's going on at the beginning, and you know you're getting a twist at the end. It's simple.
It's gimmicky. It is funny. It did make me chuckle quite a lot, but it was the little bits that made me chuckle. I wasn't that invested in the actual story. I didn't really care who did it, to be honest, and the twist didn't do much for me. No. You know, it was fine, but it didn't. Yeah, it's a paint. It didn't knock my socks off. Not even one sock.
It's paint by numbers for this genre of film. It's just it is what it is. For the first 25 minutes, I hated it. I was like, I have no clue what's going on, who any of these people are. But then as the film gradually went on, you kind of pick up the story, and I did get into it a little bit. And by the end, I was like, yeah, it wasn't too bad. But
I would have liked
to
go on. I was just going to say I would have liked personally to seen more of the interaction between the two cops and the two FBI agents, because I thought that's when it was at its best. Agreed. When those four were on screen together. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. Those four were the highlights of it.
Rainn Wilson wasn't in as much as I expected, and I wasn't that enamoured with him when he was in it.
He was just a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know. This style of film is difficult to get right, and once it's been done perfect, if you compare it to a film like Memento, that's like the perfect way to do this film. And
that's obviously
you can't not
a lot
compare
more serious.
It. Yeah, it is, but you can't not compare it, can you? And so,
but I tell you what, I will compare it to something that we've talked about a few weeks ago, and I enjoyed a lot more.
Yeah,
and that's that Simon Pegg movie, the Hitman movie.
Yep.
Was it Kill Me Three Times?
Yeah.
That is. It's not quite as complex and interwoven as this one is, but it's a similar sort of non-linear.
Yeah.
Different viewpoints movie.
Similar comedy stylings as well,
budget. Isn't it? Yeah, much preferred that.
Yeah, that's a better version of this film. That's a very good point.
It was funnier. That had more charm.
Yeah.
Like I say, there was moments of this I really thought, that's there's some well crafted jokes in here, and those 4 performances I liked, but yeah, it's pretty middle of the road for me.
The bit where the kid swears made me belly laugh, but kid swearing makes me belly laugh. Any film would do that. If Hotbot had a kid swearing in it, I'd probably laugh at it. I think it probably did. Anything else you want to say about it, or should we move on to the stream table?
No, I'm good.
Let's move on then. Do you want me to run through the stream table?
Yeah, we've still got enough in there to do the whole thing.
Well, this will be the 11th film of the season. So currently at number 10 is Malevolent. At number 9 is Life Force. At number 8 is iBoy. Number 7 is Results. Number 6 is Hungerford. Number 5 is Would You Rather. Number 4 is The Discovery. 3 is Catfight. 2 is Lost Bullet. And still at number 1 is Caliber. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm probably dropping this underneath last week's movie.
Underneath Would You Rather?
Yeah.
But better than Hungerford?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I've got a nostalgic like for Hungerford. I feel like I like it more now than I did at the time. Okay. And I don't know why. I always feel a bit gutted when we put stuff above it. I think I'm probably remembering it better than it actually was.
Well, it's an awful film.
It's a terrible
it's one
film,
of the worst. It's one of the worst films I've seen, but it's also
it's got a charm, hasn't it?
One of the funnest
just
films
got a charm
I've seen
to it
this season.
It really has. So below Would You Rather and above Hungerford.
That feels fair. I don't know. Have you got a vastly different idea?
No, not vastly different. I think it's better than the Results, definitely. It's Hungerford that's tripping me up, and I'm happy with putting it there. Let's put it above Hungerford, below Would You Rather. I think that's fair.
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
I think you're right on that. Do you want to turn the tide on it?
Well,
to be honest, till I've just said that, I have not given that any thought. So you talk.
No, me neither. But I'm going to go with it. So I would like this to have more the strength of convictions in its own story, and I don't know if I needed this to be backwards. Basically, I'm unraveling in it, playing it forward.
Interesting.
And maybe playing it more as a leaning more on the comedic stuff, because that's the bit of this that I liked.
Yeah.
And when it hit the right beats with the jokes, it worked for me. So I want more of that.
This film does work in the right order. You could watch it backwards, and it does work. It's just you lose that twist because you're going to know from the beginning that Zeke's been involved. But does that make it more interesting? Following his scenes, knowing that he knows all about it.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Interesting. It'd be really easy to recut the right way around as well because of those chapters. You just flip them.
And I don't know if I'm recasting him, but I'm definitely redirecting Rainn Wilson, because I kind of felt he was in a different movie.
Yeah.
Because he's very...
He's the straight man, isn't he?
His performance is very different to everyone else's. Yeah. He's in a dark, tetchy film, and everyone else is in a black comedy.
That's a good point. So you just bring him in line with everybody else.
Yeah, because it did feel at times he was visiting from a totally different film.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Let's do that then. Play it the right way round and make Rainn Wilson funnier.
I'm not convinced the gimmick added much to it.
No, you just lose the twist.
Because even the joke with, like, for example, Reed getting in the back I think still works the other way around.
Right, it does. It wouldn't be a good film. You're not making it a good film by doing that. It's still just a mediocre little black thriller. It might make it slightly better.
Yeah.
Less gimmicky.
Okay.
Cool. Let's do that. Right. Shall we do next week's film?
Yes.
Do you know what next week is?
Christmas.
It's Christmas, so it's our Christmas film episode. So we're bringing out the Christmas randomizer again.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. So probably should mention, if you weren't listening this time last year, for the week before Christmas, we always try and do a Christmas film. So we've got all of Netflix's Christmas films on a randomizer.
Well, yeah, it's not like you're short of them.
Well, no.
You're not short of them.
We've not got the big ones on there, have we? Like Jingle Jangle's not on there, but there are some of the shorter ones the lesser known ones on there, I guess. Last season it picked Christmas Break-In.
Yeah, which is back on.
Is it back on there now?
Back onto Netflix. Yeah.
Don't watch it, just watch Home Alone. It's the same film, only the Home Alone's better. So yeah, we'll run the Christmas randomizer, shall we?
Let's do it.
It's picked a film called Pottersville.
Okay.
Any ideas?
No, sounds very quaint.
Do you want to have a guess at what it is?
Yeah, I'm going. It's a standard. Big city boy or girl returns to their small village hometown and finds love, but with a Christmas twist.
That's all Christmas films, aren't they?
Every Netflix.
Yeah. Every Netflix film and every Christmas film is the same.
Yeah, I played it so.
You are completely wrong.
Okay.
This is described as a.
I'm not disappointed.
This is described as a Christmas comedy. Are you up for a Christmas comedy?
Well,
I think it sounds right up our street, personally. Do you want to know the synopsis?
Yes, I do. I really do.
Maynard, a beloved local businessman, is mistaken for the legendary Bigfoot during an inebriated romp through town in a makeshift gorilla costume.
Okay.
We're doing another Bigfoot film. Who'd have thought it?
Oh,
do you want to know who's in it?
Yeah, I do,
Michael Shannon.
Oh, okay.
Judy Greer.
Oh, great. I like her.
And Ron Perlman.
Okay.
And Ian McShane. Fucking Lovejoy's in it. So that's going to be our Christmas episode. Should we explain what we're doing over the Christmas period?
Yes.
So that will be our Christmas episode. That will come out next Monday.
Which will be the 21st. Yes.
The week after that, the episode will come out on Christmas Day, which is the Friday, the 25th. But that will be a Bottom of the Burrito episode, where we do a special episode every Christmas with the guys from Grief Burrito. We've got a bit of a plan on what we're going to do. We've not recorded it yet, so I can't say how good it is. So that's going to come out on Christmas Day, which is a Friday. There will not be an episode that Sunday. And then we will do so you've basically got 2 weeks to watch whatever film comes out of the bag next week.
Yeah.
So there'll be a Sunday where there isn't a podcast, but there will be one on the Friday, which will probably be longer than a normal one. So you're not losing anything. You just get extra time over Christmas to listen to watch the film, whatever comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll probably get more minutes per listen, if anything.
Last year we did an episode. We did that episode and we did an episode the same week, and it was too much over Christmas. So we've decided to not do that this year and just put you one episode out. But it's going to be awesome because the guys from Grief Burrito are incredible, and it's going to be a good fun time.
We will join forces, and we have an idea for. I
think it's going to. I think we're going to have some fun with it. So look forward to that. That will come out on Christmas Day, and then we'll be back Mondays as normal from then on.
Excellent.
As we go towards the second half of season 4. Madness.
I'm excited.
Madness. Right. That's probably it. Do you want to check us out on Twitter and Instagram? That is at BOTS_podcast. Facebook.com/bottom of the stream. The website is www.bottomofthestream.com, where you will find every episode we've ever recorded, every stream table we've ever created, and you can get some merch, which you've now missed out on for Christmas, but you can get it for some New Year's gifts. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/bottomofthestream, where for a couple of quid every month, you'll get some extra bonus episodes, early access to episodes, Nick's amazing newsletter that he writes every month. You get a wild card if you come in at a certain level, and other sorts of good shit. We've got some stickers we can send out to you, that sort of thing. And also come and join us over on Discord. We're going to do some stuff over Christmas on there with those guys. So the Discord link will be in the last line of the episode description for the episode that you are listening to right now.
Well done. Very professional. If you can't do any of that, then please leave us a review on Podbean, on Podchaser, on Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you can leave a review, because it really helps with our algorithms and puts us in front of more people's eyeballs. I tell you what you could do. Buy a bag of poppadoms, mini or otherwise.
And eat them.
Shake them around, jump up and down on them so you've got smaller bits of poppadoms. Create a review made out of poppadoms. Bit like a ransom letter, but a lot more delicious.
Are you okay?
Take a picture of that, post it to one of these review sites, and that would help us out immensely.
And it would be really random, and if anybody does that, I'd love it. You had a really easy own goal there if you could write your review backwards, but you didn't go for it, and I'm really proud of you for that.
Thanks.
Cool, yeah, so do that. Check out Pottersville.
I use that joke for the one-word review, so I'm not...
Yeah, fair play. So do that. Check out Pottersville. It's a Christmas film, and it's Christmas, so why not? And we'll come back next week to talk to you about it.
Cheers.
Bye.